What's up, homegirl? We're here. Welcome to Black College Live. Give me five style. And you know what, Tiff? I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jay Walker, my partner in crime, Tiffany Green. We're taking the show on the road with us, right?
I love it.
No more studio. We got the Sonic Boom of the South in the house. We got the Merchant Wildcats in the house. What's up, Tiff?
I love it. ATL, Shorty, the place to be, the bookend of the seasons for the Black College football year. You start here, you end here for the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. But we're kicking this thing off right. We got to set the tone for the season,
Set the tone.
So you got to do it right. Black College Live, you can catch us every week. 10 weeks we're going to be on the road. You can catch us on Facebook Live. Jay, we about to get into this thing.
Let's get into it. We got a whole lot going on in the world of Black College football. Even though Atlanta's huge, right? And we always say this. The good thing about this, the HBCU football season starts in Atlanta, and if your team is good enough, it'll end in Atlanta in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl.
Well, we saw big wins coming out of the state of North and South Carolina. Let's look at some of those headlines. How about Wofford going down at the hands of who?
South Carolina State Bulldogs. And what a great win it is for head coach Buddy Pugh, the dean of all the coaches in HBCU football. His back was against the wall. That seat was hot in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Statement victory for South Carolina State, knocking off 9th-ranked Wofford in a huge upset. The Bulldogs are off to a great start.
First top 10 win for Coach Buddy Pugh in nearly 2 decades. And how about Tyree Snick, the quarterback, more than 200 yards. He accounted for a couple of touchdowns as well. And then you can't forget about the team that we last saw here in Atlanta, the North Carolina A&T State University Aggies.
You can't
knocking
stop.
off. No, you can't. Elon, last second win. On the final second and final play of the game, Noel Ruiz knocked through a 52-yard field goal to notch a 24-21 victory.
And I think, let's be honest about this. Going into this upcoming season, the story has been, for the past 3 years, North Carolina A&T. Who's going to knock off North Carolina A&T? They've had a pretty dominant run. I think this Bethune-Cookman team that we're going to see in the MEAC SWAC Challenge is a legitimate contender to them. But hats off to Sam Washington knocking off a team in Elon that won the CAA a season ago. They were a playoff contender, and Aggie Pride, something's got to slow them down because they're getting better and better.
The thing is, Bethune-Cookman will get a chance to see today, as you mentioned, predicted to finish second. They got a lot of playmakers returning, but North Carolina A&T, they are the ones. You know what, Jay? I just want to stop and take a minute and just look around. What do we have around us?
Well, if you're going to go to an HBCU game, you got to have, some audio. So we got our DJ over in the corner. We got a little tailgate right here.
Bit, you know what I'm saying?
And we got our grill master. We're going to do our show. I'm going to bring my grill master with me. And so we'll grill master, pit master, something like nature. But we've also been joined by a lot of great folks here. And I want to give a special shout out to Ashley Robinson, Lynn Thompson, the athletic directors of Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman College, Bethune-Cookman University. They did a good job bringing it together. We're going to get a little performance from the bands later, too, which that's pretty exciting.
I love that tease, but we go back into headlines, and we talk a little bit about another game that took place in Texas Southern and Prairie View A&M. How about A&M coming through and looking sharp under the second-year head coach, Eric Dooley?
Yeah, that was a game that I was watching there to see who was going to challenge in the western part of the SWAC. Prairie View A&M, we know they can score points. Defense has always been their question, but they've got star power. You're talking about DeWanye Tucker, Morton, the quarterback, Tristan Wallace, the wide receiver. Offensively, there are no questions down there in Prairie View. Defense is going to be the key, and I think defense is going to go a long way towards determining the SWAC championship.
We talk about chasing A&T, but on the SWAC side, you're looking at Alcorn State. 5 times they've won the East Division. Jackson State on that side. Can they challenge for that? Again, we'll get a chance to see early on in the season just what they're having to offer under first-year head coach John Hendricks.
I think we talk about Jackson State. There's something to be said. I used to always say sometimes defense was optional in the SWAC. He's bringing defense on a weekly basis, and that gives you a chance down there in that conference. It'll be interesting to sit down and talk with him.
Well, we've seen a lot of shift and movement on the coaching side, but also on the player side as well, with Chauncey Caldwell, who is deciding to enter the transfer portal. The North Carolina Central quarterback now deciding to exercise his options.
Yeah, scratching my head on that one there. That's the way it's going in the college football landscape. He started as a true freshman, also was a starter as a sophomore, got injured, and then I guess didn't win his starting job back quick enough and decided to enter the transfer portal. That's I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, and I got a lot to say, but I don't know why you just don't compete for your job back, but that's the way it is.
I know you'll have a lot more to say throughout this show as Gimme 5 That's a brand that you've created that everyone knows and has grown to love. I got to hear your Gimme 5 later on. We'll talk to the coaches as well. But this Black College Live is presented to you by Pepsi. Come right back with us to Hotlanta.
Gimme 5 Black College Live is presented by Pepsi.
This December 21st, the best in HBCU football will collide in Atlanta at the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. MEAC versus SWAC. Champion versus champion. Only one team will rise above the rest and claim the coveted Celebration Bowl trophy. Come join the celebration at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this December. For more information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Yeah, this is a Gimme 5 show with Jay Walker and Tiffany. Yeah.
Gimme 5 Black College Live is presented by Pepsi.
If they put overtime on it, lights out. You know how I run, this ain't for fun. I've been going dumb, they be still trying to clone it.
Gimme 5 Black College Live is presented by Pepsi.
Man, they got everything going on here, down here in Atlanta, the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Joining me now on the set, we just heard from the Sonic Boom of the South, but joining me now on the set, the new head coach, we removed the interim tag, of Jackson State University, head coach John Hendricks. First, I want to say congratulations on being named the head football coach at JSU. Can I get a JS, JS, JSU? Talk about Jackson State. One of the things about it, one of the most loyal fan bases out there. What can they expect to see from a John Hendricks-led ball squad?
Well, what they're going to see from us is what they saw at the end of the year last year. We're going to play awfully hard. We're going to play together, and we're going to stick together as a family and roll the dice to see what happens.
Well, obviously, playing in a game this magnitude, you're here in Atlanta, it's the MEAC SWAC Challenge. What does this mean to your program, and what do we expect to see from you?
Well, you know, to have an opportunity to be on national television and be the only game in your time slot with a lot of thousands, maybe millions of people from America watching you, kids who play high school ball watching you, it's got to be big for us in recruiting for both of the institutions, and to have opportunity to play for this in this game is invaluable for our kids just to have the experience to be here.
Tell us about a couple of the playmakers that we should keep an eye on for our viewers that are going to watch the game.
Well, if you look at our guys on the team, you know, Idarius Bowie, our receiver, I think he's a big-time guy over on offense. Jordan Johnson, running back, I think he has an opportunity to do some things. We got a couple young guys in the mix on offense that I think are going to be exciting players for us. And then over on defense, you talk about Keontae Hampton, our inside linebacker, and C.J. Anderson, our defensive line. Those guys really are bell cows on our defense, and they make us go.
Let's talk big picture here since it's the opening game of the season. We're talking about the upcoming SWAC football schedule. What are some of the hurdles that you guys have to be aware of for this upcoming season to try and compete for the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl championship?
Well, you know, we always got the same guys. You know, we've got a big rivalry game with Alcorn at the end of the season, but before we get to them, you know, you got to go through Grambling, you got to go through Southern. And then Alabama A&M last year took a giant step forward as a football program. I expect them to be a handful also when we go to play them.
It's always interesting. In that game there, it seems like watching it, you all have given Alcorn probably the closest run they've had the past 2 years. What's the kryptonite? Let us in on the secret, man. How do you slow down the Braves?
We play good defense. We play good defense, and we're going to be where we're supposed to be. We're going to be sound in what we do, and we're going to take away what you do best, and that's why we've had success against them defensively.
Well, that's all right. Best of luck. We're not going to hold you. We'll see you inside the stadium. Appreciate you coming on.
Right,
thank you so much for joining us here on Black College Live. We're going to hear more from Coach Hendricks. You going out of here. Go. You want to go, Coach? We'll let you go, Coach. He's not sticking around here. But we'll have right across my shot. But we will have more. But next, coming up, we're going to hear from the head coach of the Wildcats from Bethune-Cookman University. Head coach Terry Sims will join us on set next when we come back to Black College Live.
It's time for Black College Live with your host, Jay Walker and Tiffany Green.
Hey, Tori. You sit right here.
Hey, don't step on the glass. Hey, shit, don't be boring like that.
Welcome back to Black College Live. Let me tell you, that's some of the best walk-up music, stand music you can ever hear. As I'm joined by Bethune-Cookman head coach Terry Sims in his 5th season. And coach, we had to let the band have their moment. The Marching Wildcats, one of the best bands in all of college football. You're returning to the helm. And look, this is a season of expectations for you all going in. What did you preach to your team about what to expect for this year?
Well, we preach the same thing year in and year out. We have to finish. And if our football team plays disciplined, detailed football, we finish the job that we start, I think we'll be fine.
Well, you finished out the season winning 3 straight again, halting the hopes of FAMU and their MEAC title hopes, but you guys are in search of that. What type of playmakers do you have that's going to get you over the hump this year?
Well, it's no secret. We have Jimmy Robinson, who's, an All-American in the return game. He's an All-American on offense. Marcus Ford is an All-American defensive end. Marquise Hendricks. We have some guys that can make plays, and we have our quarterback back this year, Akivas Williams, and we're looking for some big things from him today.
When you're thinking about the fanfare and all that goes into game day, what is this experience like, more specifically playing in the MEAC SWAC Challenge on national stage?
It's great to have both universities, both programs to be able to play on a stage this size, to be able to have our student athletes be able to play, in front of crowds like this, to play on national TV. It helps with recruiting, but it also helps with the egos of the student athletes. It allows them the opportunity to show their talents to the world.
Well, Jackson State is one of the traditional powers, especially out of the SWAC. And 30 years ago, Bethune-Cookman lined up against them. That was back in 1989 in the Circle City Classic, but you all have emerged over the last 2 decades or so to be one of the powers out of the MEAC. What's it going to take to get a W against the Tigers today?
Well, first of all, we have to take what they give us. We're not going to go out and force anything. We're going to take what they give us on offense, and we have to be sound on defense and in special teams. If we do that, I think we'll be good today.
Lastly, I want to know what you think makes Bethune-Cookman and your program more specifically so special.
Well, it's a family atmosphere, and that's what we say around there. Family for us means forget about me, I love you. And that's what we do each and every day. We show our guys that we care about them, we love them. And if they know that you care about them, then they'll make every effort to make plays for you, do the right thing on and off the field.
All right, we look forward to seeing the product that you put out on the field today and all season long. We'll send it to commercial real quick, but thank you so much, Terry Sims. We appreciate your time. Come back with us to Black College Live from Atlanta.
Stick and stay with Tiffany and Jay. They'll be right back after these messages.
This December 21st, the best in HBCU football will collide in Atlanta at the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. MEAC versus SWAC. champion versus champion. Only one team will rise above the rest and claim the coveted Celebration Bowl trophy. Come join the celebration at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this December. For more information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Yeah, this is a Gimme 5 show with Jay Walker and Tiffany. Yeah. You gon' have to give me 5 fingers on it right now. Waiting till they see the strength and here to win. This Black College Live, I'ma need 5 on it. If they put overtime on it, lights out. You know how I run, this ain't for fun. I've been going done, they be still trying to clone it. From FAMU to Grambling, I'm on it. Stand on it, marching 100 how you want it. Before you see me blitz, might see a twist. They think it was a glitch, went from player to an owner. Now I just be doing what I wanna. Big body, I don't even need a sponsor. I be stacking comma at the comma, Kiss a guy with good karma. I get it different, I be working on my off days. Into that paper,
Jay Walker, Tiffany Green here with you, Black College Live. Remember, you can catch us streaming on Facebook Live. And look, if it's this live before the game, just think of what's going to be like for the MEAC SWAC Challenge or Bethune-Cookman and Jackson State. Take the field.
Oh, it's football season. You can feel it in the air. Both these teams are ready to get after it. They're excited. Bethune-Cookman's ready to go get it. And you can tell both coaches, they weren't revealing too much.
No.
And even coaches get a little bit nervous as well. So you can tell, I like the intensity. It's going to be a great matchup.
All right, so this is a segment that everyone waits for. They all look forward to it. Each week, Jay's Gimme 5. The school of the week this week, Jackson State.
Jackson State University. I'm going to tell you what you need to know about Jackson State University, all right? First and foremost, we talked about them. They're back with their fan base. And you know what? They are the #1 attendance leader in FCS football. They were a long time. Now they're back. Give credit to Jackson State. They're putting those fans in the seats. Number four, Jackson State has 4 NFL Hall of Fame members. Talking names like Lynn Barney. Talking about Robert Brazil. We're talking about Jackie Slater. Oh, 4 NFL Hall of Famers, and there's one I'm leaving off, but I'm sure you know we'll get to that.
I can't let
Number
you know.
3, how about this? They're known for baseball too. Robert Brady, longtime baseball coach there at Jackson State, over 800 career victories. Put some guys in the Major League Baseball, guys like Oil Can Boyd. They've got a baseball tradition. He also served as the athletic director. Number 2, we heard it earlier. Stomp your feet, close your mouth. They could be the baddest band in the South. Jackson State representing the Sonic boom, boom. They bring it. You throw in the J-Sets, they do something special down there in Jackson, Mississippi. And number 1, come on now, it's Jackson Sweet. Give it to me, Tiff. What's number 1?
3, 4,
Sweetness.
Walter Payton, baby.
Walter Payton, alumnus of Jackson State University, arguably, pound for pound, the greatest football player in the history of the NFL. Pound for pound, Walter Payton was that special dude right there. That's what I think is that. Now, Tiff,
I gotta know, who'd you miss out on, or what you missed out on? Who's on the bowl there, Jay?
you know, there's a lot of things they do down there. You know, this is normal when you debate me and ask me what I missed. I don't think I missed too much, but I want to give credit to their academics. Right now, when you go to Jackson State, they've got this initiative where every freshman receives a free iPad. That's talking about putting your education first. Give credit down there to the president for what they're doing, Dr. Bynum. Good job at Jackson State. Hey, you want to talk about it, even though it's called Jay's Gimme 5? You can hit me up on any of our social media platforms, and we'll discuss and debate it till the cows come home.
At the Gimme 5 show. Make sure you find it across all platforms, and make sure you continue to watch us week after week on Facebook Live. This is all happening because of our great sponsors, including Pepsi. So thank you so much to making Black College Live happen, and we'll be back with more.
Stick and Stay with Tiffany and Jay. They'll be right back after these messages.
This December 21st, the best in HBCU football will collide in Atlanta at the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. MEAC versus SWAC. Champion versus champion. only one team will rise above the rest and claim the coveted Celebration Bowl trophy. Come join the celebration at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this December. For more information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Gimme 5 Black College Live is presented by Pepsi.
The lovely lady.
Gimme 5 Black College Live is presented by Pepsi.
The MEAC SWAC Challenge returns to Atlanta this Labor Day weekend. Celebrate the start of fall with football, marching bands, tailgating, friends, and fun at Georgia State Stadium. Conference bragging rights will be on the line as the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats battle the Jackson State Tigers. Hard-hitting HBCU football, plus the top-ranked marching bands from both the MEAC and SWAC. Georgia State Stadium is the place to be on Sunday, September 1st, the 2019 MEAC SWAC Challenge. The MEAC SWAC Challenge returns to Atlanta this Labor Day weekend. Celebrate the start of fall with football, marching bands, tailgating, friends, and fun at Georgia State Stadium. Conference bragging rights will be on the line as the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats battle the Jackson State Tigers. Hard-hitting HBCU football, plus the top-ranked marching bands from both the MEAC and SWAC. Georgia State Stadium is the place to be on Sunday, September 1st.
All right, welcome back. The 15th edition of the MEAC SWAC Challenge coming your way on ESPN2 at 3 p.m. But before we say anything...
Yeah, you know this is a football show, right,
yeah,
Tiffany?
I know, but I have to represent real quick for the lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Oh, goodness gracious.
The Iota Kappa chapter out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. All this lovely pink and green on the section.
Okay. So you got your sororities here. I'm going to do you one better. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, founded on the campus of...
You know. In 1908, the first and finest sorority. Don't you forget that.
There we go.
All right, so we got to talk some business here. Coming up, the MEAC SWAC Challenge, Bethune-Cookman, Jackson State.
Yes.
We heard from the coaches. What's your take, Jay?
This game right here is going to be a very interesting game. Any team can win it. I think the expectations are on Bethune-Cookman. They were predicted to come in second in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference this year to possibly challenge North Carolina A&T. They return a lot of players, but when you watch them, the people they return, just because they have more experience doesn't necessarily mean they got better. They have to show improvement during this offseason. We know the defensive coordinator with Yogi Jones will try and get it done. They've got some offensive playmakers that can do it, but the question for them is going to be, can they bring their physicality into this contest? For years in, the Mid-East Athletic Conference has been the more physical of the conference. That being said, you asked me, how can Jackson State come in here and win? Well, we saw what Jackson State did to Alcorn, almost beating them. They beat them a year ago. Jackson State may be the most physical team outside of Alcorn in that conference. Can they bring that physicality into today's ball game? Big question mark at quarterback. I don't believe in quarterback by committee. We could see 3 quarterbacks for Jackson State today. If that happens, I think Bethune-Cookman is going to make it a tough day. I can't call the game, Tiff, but I think it's going to be a good game.
As somebody who may be familiar with the MEAC and SWAC can do a great job of that. The coach, Jay Martin. Wait a minute. He's round here. Ladies, let's part the scene for the Kappa man that's coming through. Now, wait a minute. See, you know, we got to have the Greek love in here. That's also important. That's all a part of the experience, Jay.
Well, see, there you go again, going social. I'm going football again. So he's our grill master, but Jay Martin was awful. A defensive coordinator, coach at Alabama A&M, coach at South Carolina State, coach at all the different schools out there. So I can't make a prediction, but you're the grill master. Who's going to win this game?
After hearing everything, I think I'm going to have to go with...
I got you there.
Maroon and gold. They are celebrating. They like that pick. Meanwhile, Jackson State fans say we may have a little something to say about that.
They'll play it, but all that you can check out the action yourself. Coming to you on ESPN2. It's game time here in Hotlanta. The 2019 MEAC SWAC Challenge. Peace.
Black College Live, baby.
We are the SWAC. Our heritage lifts us to great heights because my history is forged by trailblazers. That motivates me today to focus on my future. We are the SWAC. We are the new trailblazers. And this is my heritage.
It's MEAC football season, and things are about to get wild. Could the Aggies bury the Bison? Or will the Bears make a run at the ratings board? Will the Rattlers strike before the Bulldogs bite?